Looking, gets it to Bryant. Bryant dribbling, has to put it up with the buzzer. Bounce it!
Is this the dagger?
Oh! Up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the rejection.
What is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome here today to my first podcast post us knowing the 2024 NBA lottery results. If you are watching on YouTube, I am in a hotel room. I'm in Chicago right now for the 2024 draft lottery, and it has been very fun so far. I can kind of give a quick rundown before we get into the ESPN reaction pod, and I'll kind of give my plans of what I want to do post lottery here on the podcast. So, I guess we can get into that first. Now, the lottery was Sunday night. You guys got my initial reaction over on the YouTube channel. And then on Monday, currently, I think you guys are going to see this on Monday. We'll see, though. Either way, on Monday, you got my first mock draft all on the YouTube channel. I think I'm just going to repost that audio and upload it to the pod feed, but there's also a chance I maybe just make a new pod a new mock draft if I have time for it and kind of want to change some things up. Like, hey, I've been at the combine for one day and it has been an interesting experience, man. I think I have changed maybe some thoughts on some players. Obviously, you shouldn't do too much because you just scouted these guys for 5 months. Why change your opinion on one day, right? But I think I have some new thoughts and analysis that I want to bring to you guys, like seeing these guys up close and in person. I've only seen a handful of these prospects in person, so it was really cool to see these guys in person, up close, see how their jumper looks like straight off the rip. Like Ron Holland, his jumper, it looks kind of gross. Like the way he shoots it, it's too far to the side. That's something you don't really pick up unless you're, I think, at the games or watching it live, because I didn't really get that from him watching him on the G League Ignite feed this year. I didn't get a chance to see him in person, but it's really cool, man. Like, I'm going to make a whole dedicated video on the Sauce channel because I got to participate in the combine. Like, the NBA sent me down. Well, they didn't send me down, but they allowed me to participate in the combine myself. I did it in jeans, like in khakis, and I ran, I think, the fastest three-quarter sprint. I forget what else kind of got the top, and apparently I also got the best shooting score, which is whack because I shot 9 for 25 in jeans, and my first 2 shots were basically air balls. I don't know how, but hey, I'm not complaining, man. I'm not complaining. It's really cool though, because you just kind of look around and you everybody has a badge on. It's either they're from a media site or they're from a team, and they could be doing anything for the team specifically too. They could be working in the front office. They could be working on the ops side of things. They could be just working on the business side of things. And then I walked by Bobby Marks of ESPN. I walked by Zach Lowe of ESPN. I walked by Shams. It's kind of crazy. I also walked by Zach Edey. He makes me look like a little ant. And yeah, I'm going to talk more about that. It's all on my Twitter. I've been kind of posting my experience, and you guys should definitely follow me on Instagram, Matt_Strauss, to kind of get all my thoughts and analysis from the combine weekend. And I've been kind of posting some stories there as well, which has been a lot of fun for sure, 100%. So yes, we're going to react to ESPN's lottery mock draft today. Sorry for the long intro. And we are going to start off, this I think could be a run of reaction mock drafts. I want to do Bleacher Reports. I want to do the Athletics. I'm obviously doing ESPN's today. So you guys are going to get a ton of content specifically around the draft, because you guys know I love talking about the draft going forward. Nothing really to talk about playoff wise. I mean, Mother's Day Knicks game, I don't really want to talk about it. I don't, and I'll give kind of my lottery thoughts as well as we get to these picks. So we start off with Alex Sarr going to the Atlanta Hawks. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I mean, I mocked that to number 1 overall, and how crazy is it that Atlanta of all teams ended up with the number 1 overall pick? It's really cool because I have no idea what they're going to do this offseason. Were they going to move Trey? Were they going to move DeJounte Murray? Were they going to try to maybe give up all their assets for Brandon Ingram, in which something they could still do? But now they have a legitimate franchise center, but it's a weird fit, I think, in Atlanta. I think Sarr's shot is going to take some time to develop at the NBA level, and he's going to be raw as a prospect, but his body and the way he's able to move for someone of his size at 6'10", 11, 7 foot in shoes, it's not one of a kind, because we've seen Wemby now and Chet, but it is up there, man. His athleticism is second to none for somebody of his size, and this is massive for Atlanta, and I have no idea what route they go this offseason, and I'm really excited to see what they end up doing, and GM Landry Fields has a lot of work cut out for them. So Alex Sarr, number 1 of the Hawks, I agree. That's what I had mocked, and I wonder, man, it would be so good for his development playing alongside Trae Young and or DeJounte Murray. I do think the Hawks are better with one of those two, not both of them. I don't think they work well in that backcourt, so we'll see if they end up making a move this offseason. Number 2, we have Zachary Risachet going to the Washington Wizards. I mocked Nikola Topic, who unfortunately actually got hurt today. We don't know the severity of the injury, but it didn't look great. He had to get helped off the floor and kind of carried out of the arena, going around two guys' shoulders, not like in a stretcher or anything, but yeah, not great, right? Going into the pre-draft process. So we're going to see what's going to happen with Nikola Topic, and how severe that injury is going to be. But Risachet is a weird fit as well, just because you throw in Bilal and Denny, and Risachet could maybe eventually work, but then you also have Kyle Kuzma. I just don't want Risachet to get bumped to the back end of the bench and has a wash of a rookie season, like a Jarris Walker this year, right? Which I don't think would happen in Washington. But I don't really think Risachet would have a chance to thrive there specifically. So I disagree with this right now. And hopefully, Risachet has definitely hurt his draft stock a little bit as of late. So we have Reed Sheppard 3 to the Houston Rockets. I'm a big Reed Sheppard guy, man. Watching him in person, he has the cleanest jumper in this whole class. Next to none. I think it's a cleaner looking jumper than Rob Dillingham's 100%. It's slightly better than Jared McCain's and Dalton Connect's, but it is so clean, man. Every single shot he takes looks exactly the same, and it's an amazing release. It's quick. It's just elite, man. And he had the highest vertical jump too. What the hell, Reed Sheppard? Are you kidding me? You're going to be one of the more athletic guards in this draft as well. Yeah, 3rd pick. I'm cool with that. I don't mind him in Houston 100%. There's going to be talks about him potentially at 2 to Washington, which will be kind of insane if that does happen. So he is Rob Dillingham 4 to the San Antonio Spurs. Also had this mocked as well. I didn't get to see Dillingham get tested as all in the combine. Obviously, he got measured. He was 6 foot, basically 6 foot without shoes, I think. 165. He's going to have to put on some weight because he's going to be very easy to kind of bulldoze as a defender, and it's going to be tough for him as a rookie 100%. Now, I think he'll be fine, and his offensive game is there, but there are some defensive question marks if you're going to risk taking him at number 4, and I'm okay with that. 5, Matas Buzelis to the Pistons. It's funny because if Buzelis, Holland, Stephon Castle, or Cody Williams was an elite shooter, they'd be the number 1 overall pick. Buzelis looks comfortable out there for sure. It's just, is he going to develop the outside shot? That's a big question mark. He was inconsistent today with it, and he's been inconsistent this whole season. So he has the intangibles and versatility to be a useful player at the NBA level and kind of be a mismatch for some teams as well. But he's somebody that definitely needs to work on that jumper, 100%. And hey, if he becomes 29% from 3 in his rookie year, 32% in year 2, 35% in year 3. We 100% take that, but we just got to get to that 35% and believe that can happen. So, number 6, we have the Charlotte Hornets. They're getting Donovan Clingan. This is interesting for sure, seeing Donovan Clingan go number 6. This team does have Mark Williams, but I don't think Mark Williams is a guarantee franchise center. He's had his injury problems already. I don't know if I agree with Clingan here. I think there are some better options. Nikola Topic is on the board, but I probably not go that route. I think I'd be intrigued by Cody Williams. I'd be very intrigued by Ron Holland as well, because I still think he has defensive upside if the shooting isn't there. And Clingan does as well, but I think Holland could give you a little bit more. I'd rather have a wing. I don't know. I guess you'd rather have an elite rim protector than an elite wing defender. But I don't know if Clingan's going to be an elite rim protector. But Clingan actually showed some nice flashes with his jumper today at the combine. But it's a weird fit in Charlotte. They are kind of going in a new era, new GM, new coach in Charles Lee. We'll see kind of what he prefers. But I don't know if I really like that fit of Clingan to the Hornets at 6. I hate this fit. Nikola Topic to the Blazers at 7. Why? You took Scoot 3 last year. You have Malcolm Brogdon. I don't know how much longer he's going to be on the roster. I guess you theoretically don't have a backup point guard, but why waste pick 7, your actual pick that you were so bad this year, to end up drafting a backup, right? Why are we doing that? I don't think whoever they take at 7 is going to start, because they have Aiden and Grant at the front court. And then presumably they have Scoot at the 1, Sharp at the 2, or Simons at the 2, Sharp at the 3. Now they could end up making a trade, but I don't know if I really like Topic there. I think there's some better options. And even who they have going 8, Dalton Connect, who I like, I'd rather have in Portland than Nikola Topic. So he is Dalton Connect going 8, which is kind of high, but honestly, I don't hate it because they could take the higher upside pick in Rob Dillingham at 4, and then at 8, it's kind of house money. This is the Jakob Poeltl return. Take Dalton Knecht, one of the best shooters in this draft class, 100%, and you get 2 elite shooters. 2. That is very nice to do, getting Dillingham and Dalton Knecht here. So that's who he has going to 8 with the San Antonio Spurs selection. Yeah, like I love Holland's upside, but I'm cool with the Spurs going 1 safe, 1 higher upside prospect. And they took Dillingham at 4, so I think it would be a little bit risky to take Holland at 8. We do have Memphis taking Stephon Castle at 9. His jumper was kind of all over the place today as well. I worry about it off the dribble. I worry about the mid-range jumper, but he's athletic. He also, I think, measured in at like 6'3", 6'2", when people thought he was like 6'5", 6'6". So we'll see if that was like a measuring mistake. But I like him in Memphis. They could use his defense for sure. And I think it's an interesting question. Like, do you prefer Stephon Castle or do you prefer Ron Holland? I think they both do the same things for you that they lack the jumper, and I think Castle's jumper looks prettier. Do I think it will develop more? I don't know. I still like Ron Holland a lot, and Ron Holland going 10 to the Utah Jazz I think is a phenomenal pick for them, and I think that's really good upside, and they don't need him to shoot because they have some shooters. You got Markkanen that could shoot, Hendricks, George, Sexton, Clarkson, plenty of shooters on this team. Let's get some defenders, and that could be Ron Holland. So I do like Ron Holland's fit in Utah. I do wonder if he falls to 10, but Knecht at 8, I feel like it's gonna be more and more likely that Knecht is a top 10 pick. This is gonna be such an interesting draft to redraft, look back on in a couple of years, and I'm excited. 11, Chicago getting a Collier. I hate this. I mean, I love Collier, and Collier was so he is so fast. Watching him at the combine in that 3/4 court sprint, and his jumper still all over the place at times. And I think he was fine at USC. I worry about the free throw shooting. I also just hate the fit in Chicago. I just do. I don't think he needs to be playing 20 minutes a night in his rookie year, trying to compete for shots and minutes with so many other guards on this team, like LaVine, like Carter, like Caruso, Dosunmu, and White. I say this every time. We're crowding this backcourt in Chicago, and maybe they move on from LaVine, and I hope they do, and I hope they let DeRozan walk, and I hope they try to find a Vucevic trade, but I think going and drafting Collier at 11 with Cody Williams, with Tijon Salon, this may be high for Tyler Smith, but with some of those guys that I think could have higher upside for them on the perimeter or big man, I don't know if I love Collier to the Bulls. I like Collier as a prospect. I'm cool with him going in the top 10. If he went 8 to San Antonio, I'm fine with that. I am. I just don't like him in Chicago. So we have Cody Williams, younger brother of Jalen Williams, going to the Thunder at 12. Hey, I'm cool with this. They can kind of be patient with his jumper, and I think Cody Williams could be a solid defender right away. He is lanky, man. He is lanky out there. He does still, I think, not look super comfortable with the ball in his hands, but I do think Cody Williams will eventually be a good scorer in this league, but it's going to take a little bit of time for him to develop. And what's better to develop than playing under your younger brother in OKC? So, you know what? I'm cool with this. I am. I do think OKC could just get legitimate elite defenders here at 12 and be fine with it. But if Cody Williams can play better than Gordon Hayward in his time in OKC, they'll be fine. And that's not going to be hard to do because Gordon Hayward was really bad in OKC so far this year. And we'll see if Giddey's on this team next year as well, which could open up some more minutes. You assume Cason Wallace maybe slides back into the rotation, or slides into the starting lineup next year. You would think, right? Yeah, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see what OKC ends up doing. They have Jacoby Walter going to the Kings at 13. This dude's super athletic. The shot is kind of inconsistent at times. It's boom or bust. I feel like he's either on or he's going to shoot you out of games. But I think, is one of the more athletic players in this class. He can be high motor at times, and I think he can provide some defensive upside for Sacramento. I would probably prefer Jared McCain over Jacoby Walter to Sacramento specifically, because I do think McCain is an elite shooter, but they may want some defense as well, especially if they move on. I was going to say from Davion Mitchell, but they do have Keon Ellis. I don't know. I think I would like McCain here at 13. Tijon Salon going to the Blazers at 14. I just got a sneak peek of who's at 15 to the Heat. All right, we'll get into that in a second. But yeah, Salon to the Blazers at 14, I'm fine with. Maybe there's some other guys that I'd prefer at this position. To Portland, then Salon, who's a major project play. So you end up with Topic and Salon to Portland. I don't really agree with that. I think actually Portland could use a more NBA ready guy at 14 specifically. I don't think it's Zach Edey. But I do think they could look for a more NBA ready wing. I mean, I'm sure they would love Connect at 14. I doubt he makes it there, but I just don't really love the Topic Salon draft for Portland here, who I think could look for a little bit more NBA ready guys with that Warriors pick at 14. I'm kind of going through this. I don't really love the Blazers getting Topic and Salon. So Jonathan Givony of ESPN and Jeremy Wu, who I also saw both those guys at the combine as well. They have Zach Edey going 15 to the Miami Heat. They're the only outlet I've seen have Edey in lottery conversations all year. Maybe they're backtracking a little bit, but still having him go 15. Why would the Miami Heat, a team that prioritizes crashing the boards, running the floor, being super athletic, two-way guys, want Zach Edey? You have Bam Adebayo. I don't think they should draft. I mean, I'm fine with them getting a good backup center because they need one for Bam Adebayo behind him, because it's been Kevin Love and Orlando Robinson and Thomas Bryant, and it's been in a revolving doors of your Omer Yurtsevens as well over the years. So I would go out and take Yves Missi here before I'm getting Zach Edey. But there's a lot of guys, and I think going back to the Tijon Salon pick, Tristan Da Silva, I would like at 14 as well. That dude is quick with the ball in his hands for sure. Seeing him up close. 16, Philadelphia getting Devin Carter. I love that for them. I do. Somebody that can give them what they didn't have in round 1 against the Knicks. Dude that is going to hustle his ass off, dive for loose balls, knock down some threes, play hard, rebound, and that's what they need. Someone that can play the 1, the 2, or the 3 for them, can play alongside Embiid and Maxey. I love Devin Carter to Philadelphia at 16. I could already see it. I'd be giving them an A+ after draft night if they made that pick. Now, if the Lakers got Jared McCain at 17, that could be a very good D'Lo replacement. I don't think he's going to be as good of a scorer as D'Lo was last year just in his rookie season, but that could be a great shooter for them if they didn't like a Yves Missi here, who I think is more of a project play, as McCain could help you next year. Now, does this hurt the minutes for maybe Max Christie if they re-sign him? Does this hurt the minutes for Jalen Hood-Schifino? Potentially, but I think with D'Lo going, I think they'd rather have an open opportunity at the point guard position. Maybe it's Reeves and McCain's off ball, or it's Hood-Schifino can maybe thrive in year number 2, hopefully. Because I still like Hood-Schifino as a prospect coming out of Indiana. But I like McCain to the Lakers at 17. I think that's great value. Tristan Da Silva to the Magic at 18. I love this pick for them. Da Silva can do a little bit of everything. He's quick with the ball in his hands in the half court, in transition, can space the floor, can play defense, and can pass the ball. It's everything you want. I would love for my Knicks to get him. He ain't making it that far. 19, Kyle Filipowski to the Raptors. I hate this for them. I don't think they're really upgrading their backup 5 spot whatsoever. I mean, yeah, he's probably better than Boucher going forward, but I'm not a big fan of Filipowski. I think the jumper is going to be way too inconsistent. I think there's question marks with his defensive mobility. I think he's kind of slow at times, and I do think the competitiveness as well. I kind of worry about Filipowski, and I also don't think it's really a Raptors pick. Looking at this as a big board, maybe it's fine if he goes 19, but I've been coming lower and lower on Filipowski, and I don't really think he screams Toronto Raptor at all either. The Cavs getting Tyler Smith at 20. Man, Tyler Smith is putting me through a blender right now. You guys know me. I love Tyler Smith, one of my favorite players in this draft class. He was inconsistent. He had one of the worst free throw scores, one of the worst, I think it was the spot up 3-point shot scores. He did really good off the dribble, or vice versa with spot ups. But he was inconsistent today, to say the least. The jumper looks so good. It's such a pretty form for somebody that's 6'10". But I don't really love his fit in Cleveland. Now, if they moved on from Jared Allen, they need another backup big, sure. They have him listed as a 3/4. I mean, I think his ball handling ability, he could be a 3, and maybe he's a pseudo forward, like that Lauri Markkanen type, kind of tall guy on the perimeter. But I don't know if I like him in Cleveland. But you know what? Maybe I do, actually, because they could look for some athleticism off the bench. But I think I'd rather just prefer Kevin McCullough there. I just don't want to see Caris LeVert in Cleveland. I'm not a big Caris LeVert guy. Next up, at number 21, we have the Pelicans getting Yves Missi. This dude was knocking down some threes today with a pretty good-looking form. I'm cool with that. I'm cool if Yves Missi can knock down a 3 or 2 at the NBA level. I doubt he actually takes them because he's forced to take these threes at the combine. I don't think he's actually going to take them consistently at the NBA level. But I do like New Orleans, who their starting center, Jonas Valanciunas, is a free agent. Larry Nance is fine as a center. I just don't think they need to bring back Valanciunas, and I like Yves Missi here for sure. Bobby Klintman to the Suns at 22. I think this is a little high. I don't mind Klintman as a prospect. I just wonder about his feel for the game at the NBA level specifically. Will he be aggressive enough? And I don't think Phoenix needs a wing. They don't actually. Yeah, Tyler Kolek, who, man, he killed the combine today. Tyler Kolek, I would take here, or I would take a big. And I know you already have Edey and Filipowski and Missi off the board. I would look into the Deron Holmes of the world. I mean, Adem Bona is physical as hell, and he is so strong. He may be a little undersized, so I would go Tyler Kolek here. Johnny Furphy, 23 to the Milwaukee Bucks. I love this. I mean, maybe you'd like a backup point guard, or you'd like another big. But Johnny Furphy, man, that jumper may play in year number 1 if he gets ample playing time. I think if he goes late in the draft, maybe he doesn't really play too much in his rookie season, but this dude's jumper is wet. It looks so good. It is up there. It's not, I think, like Shepard, Connect, Dillingham, McCain, tier 1 guys, but it may be the end of tier 1, first guy in tier number 2. Like, his jumper, I think, is better than Keyshawn George's, Kevin McCullough's, Tristan De Silva's, but way better than, I think, Cody Williams' jumper for sure. And just kind of going through any of these guys as well that have been good shooters at one point. Better than Devin Carter's, in my opinion. Better than T.Jon Salant. I think it's better than Reese Hashay's. Better than Jacoby Walters. Johnny Furphy's jumper is legit. So I think getting him at 23 is good value for them. I like Keyshawn George going to the Knicks at 24. He can most definitely play off ball. I think he still has good defensive upside. I do worry about his physicality. He's gonna have to put on weight, but you know what? I'm looking at these two Knicks picks. We have Keyshawn George at 24 and Carlton Carrington, who looked phenomenal today. One of the more younger players in the draft. He's 18 years old right now. And this dude killed the combine workouts today. His athleticism stood out, his speed stood out, and this dude's jumper looks so good, which can make him so valuable in this draft. And I think because of his age and what he could be, I don't think he makes it to the Knicks at 25, but I am very happy with Keyshawn George and Carlton Carrington to the Knicks at 24 and 25 here. As a Knicks fan, 100%, but I think the combines that they're having, I think Carrington goes borderline top 20, and Keyshawn George may even go a little bit higher as well. I know it's just the first day for the combine, so I'm not really going to obviously put too much stock into it, but I watched these guys at Miami and Pittsburgh, and these guys were good this past season. They're both, I think, raw as prospects, but back into that rookie contract year 3 and 4, they are going to be such good guys in this league, and most definitely will get rookie extensions. We got Justin Edwards going to the Wizards at 26. I don't really love Justin Edwards as a prospect. I would not take him in the first round. If I was Washington here, I would look. I mean, you had Reese Hashey go too. I would take Tyler Kolek here. Why not? Let him run the show for some of these guys. Let him set up your young wings here. What is Justin Edwards going to benefit here? I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of this. This is like an immediate, like, Capital City go-go G League guy. I think there's plenty of point guards you could take here at 26. You can look at AJ Mitchell. You can look at, obviously, Kolek, I mentioned, Reese Beekman and his defensive potential at the 1. I just don't really love Justin Edwards. And if you were going to take a wing, there's plenty of other guys that I prefer, like Dylan Jones out of Weber State. I would look at a Dembona here as well. Minnesota, Khalil Ware at 27. I could have mentioned him before with the Suns pick, but I don't really like this. Why take a big? You already have such a crowded front court room with Gobert and Towns, and then Naz Reid's coming off the bench, and you kind of have, you could just sign a veteran big man. You got kind of Luka Garza as well. I just don't think they really need to take a center. I think this is silly. Monty Morris is a free agent. Mike Conley's getting up there in age. Take Tyler Kolek. What are we doing here? I don't really agree with that mock selection whatsoever. But they do have Tyler Kolek going to the Nuggets at 28, and I do think they could use a point guard for sure. With Jamal Murray kind of having his injury concerns at times, and then Reggie Jackson's getting up there in age. They don't really have another point guard on the roster going forward. Like, they have kind of wings right now with Christian Brown and Peyton Watson, your Julian Strawthers, and then some bigs with Zeke Naji off the bench that are younger. They could look for another big man to kind of compete with Zeke Naji, but I like Tyler Kolek to the Nuggets. I just don't think he should make it this far. Kevin McCullough, 29 to the Jazz. I think this is a little low for McCullough. There's some other wings that I prefer. Like, if Phoenix was going to take a wing, I would take Kevin McCullough over Bobby Klintman. I think Kevin McCullough is a better fit for Cleveland. I think Smith will be better long term. But I think even McCullough to Toronto, I'd prefer over Kyle Filipowski. I'm not a big fan. Damn, I feel bad for Raptors fans though, falling out of your top 6 protection, and you just get picked 19, which is basically from the Siakam trade, and then they don't have that other first from the Siakam trade because they traded it in the Kelly Olynyk deal. Masai, I was gassing you up on Twitter. I don't know about it if I should anymore, Masai Ujiri. Come on, man. So 29, Kevin McCullough to the Jazz. So they have him getting McCullough and Holland 2 wings. I don't know if I would like that. I think with moving on Olynyk, I would like another big, or I'd like a lead guard, ball handler as well, just because I don't know if Keontae or George is the answer long-term as your lead initiator. And Juan Nunez to the Celtics at 30. I don't really know if I love Nunez going in the first round. There's a lot of other guards that I prefer, to be honest with you. Ryan Dunn, 31 to the Raptors. I mean, this is great for the Raptors, getting another good defender, and that could be some great defensive lineups with Quickly and Barnes and Ryan Dunn, but man, oh man, Ryan Dunn was kind of the worst shooter today, including big man. Ryan Dunn was kind of the worst shooter at the combine. It's not great for an avid or a very invested and highly levered Ryan Dunn stock owner, sadly. And then you got Jalen Tyson, 32 to the Jazz, another wing. He's good. I don't think he has a super high ceiling, but he's going to play physical right away for sure. Terrence Shannon to the Bucks at 33. I think that's probably where he should go. Character issues, 24 years old. There's just other wings I think with better upside long term. You have Harrison Ingram going to the Blazers at 34. I kind of think that's high for Harrison Ingram. I know he's a good shooter and he's like a stockier defender, but I think there's some other guys that I'd prefer. Peyton Sandfort to the Spurs at 35. Yeah, I guess you can get more shooting. Cam Christie, 36 to the Pacers. I am very excited to watch Cam Christie in the 5-on-5s at the combine because this is someone that could definitely get up into the first round in the lottery, or excuse me, in the draft. I'm excited to watch him. I've been watching him a little bit late out of Minnesota, and he's going to be, I think, super fun as a 3-level scorer. Dylan Jones, Minnesota, I think that's great value at 37. Knicks getting Ethan Almanza at 38, also good value. I think 4 G League Ignite guys could get drafted. Almanza, though, is kind of all over the place at times, it feels like. Baylor Shireman looked so good at the combine today with his shot. His off the dribble mechanics, and I think that'd be great for Memphis at 39. Ulrich Chomsky to the Blazers at 40. Thank you. We got him a big. I mean, you got Topic, you got Salon, and you got Chomsky. I mean, I'm sure if college fans of the Blazers would be thrilled with that. But Kobe Dadiet going to the Sixers at 41. So you get Dadiet, and you get Devin Carter. I'm a big fan of this mock for the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm a big Dadiet guy, and I think he could be a fringe first rounder. Alex Caravan, Hornets 42. I was on the Alex Caravan train for a while, and then nobody else was, and I'm like, am I too invested into Alex Caravan where I had him as like a fringe second rounder? Man, he looked great today. Miami Heat taking Melvin Ajinka. I'm not a huge Ajinka guy, but I think for Miami, it could be a great position for him. Trayvon Brazil to the Rockets at 44. Keyshawn Johnson to the Kings at 45. Honestly, they have back-to-back Zona guys. I like Pele Larson's game. I liked it a ton at Arizona this year. He plays physical. He plays hard. He's kind of like your Cam Spencers of the world, right? But I think he's someone that plays physical and the jumper's going to play. And I think he can handle the rock and he's got good size. I think Pele Larson should be a top 45 pick. KJ Simpson Magic, 47. Fine with that. Hunter Salas to the Spurs at 48, I think is great value. Pacers at Dembona at 49. People are going to fall in love with a Dembona and could replace maybe Jalen Smith in that rotation. They back-to-back seconds, and they're getting Deron Holmes at 50. I mean, that's great value. I think Deron Holmes is a fringe first rounder. Come on, ESPN, what are we doing? AJ Mitchell to the Wizards at 51. Good value. Let's get them a guard. Jackson Robinson out of BYU to the Warriors at 52. Fine with that. Nikola Duricic going to the Pistons at 53. I'm a fan of this. This dude is kind of athletic. He's very quick, and he's got great size and a good handle. Duricic, remember that name. He could end up being a top 40 pick. Jalen Wells to the Celtics at 54. Jamal Sheed, the defensive point guard out of Houston, to the Lakers at 55. Jalen Bridges, who people are falling in love with. I don't really see it, but he had a very good combine, and I'm like, all right, he had a good combine, but nobody was, and everyone's like, should be a first rounder. He was never talked about a first rounder. And now, since he had a good combine, he's all of a sudden a first rounder. Like, at least a Dembona, I think, was fringe first round, like high end second round. And if he gets in the first round, I think, all right, like at least had some high end second round hype. I just think that's a little extreme for Jalen Bridges. Ariel Hukporti from Melbourne to the Grizzlies at 57. Don't know how I feel about that. Cam Spencer to the Mavericks at 58. I'm glad to see Cam Spencer drafted. I definitely think he should. So like no Mark Sears here. I guess there's a couple guys here that also could not go into the draft. Like they may end up going back to college because they still have the opportunity to do that. It seems like Bronny James is going to enter the draft, and Bronny James just got measured in at 6'1". without shoes, so he's like 6'2", basically, and all reports at USC this year had him at 6'4", which is kind of interesting to say the least. So I guess we'll see what ends up going with Bronny James, and he's going to be competing in the scrimmages. So make sure you guys are following the pod, subscribe to the channel to get all my thoughts on the combine going forward, because I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts here as well. And yeah, thank you guys all for watching and listening. I'm so excited that we finally know the draft order, and I'm so excited to dive more and more into these prospects as we lead up to the two-day draft in June. One day for the first round, one day for the second round. I guess you'll love to see it, right? So yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you all for watching and listening, and I'll see y'all then. Peace.